In the glamorous and captivating world of Hollywood, where brilliance and allure intersect with innovation, talent, and illusion, a harsh reality persists: the enduring wage gap that disproportionately affects Black actresses. And despite Hollywood's image as a beacon of progressiveness and recent strides towards gender and racial equality, the struggles faced by Black actresses, including unequal pay, limited opportunities, and systematic discrimination, persist. Actress and comedian Monique, who won an Oscar for her role in the film Precious, sparked a conversation about Hollywood's disrespectful attitude towards Black actresses back in 2016, when she revealed that she received a mere $50,000 for her role in Precious, a movie that went on to gross $47 million at the box office. This opened a dialogue about the industry's discriminatory practices. Reports reveal significant disparities, with Black women in Hollywood earning considerably less than their white counterparts, and the gap widens when compared to both white men and Black men. Recent studies highlight a stark racial disparity within the gender wage gap, indicating that Black actresses earn only 65 cents for every dollar earned by white actors, while white actresses earn 83 cents. A few years after her Precious revelation, in 2018, Monique was once again the topic of conversation when she asked her fans to boycott streaming giant Netflix after they approached her to do a comedy special but only offered her $500,000 in return. Monique then pointed out the recent deals between Netflix and other prominent comedians, such as Amy Schumer, who received $13 million, and Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, who'd both received $20 million. After Monique's complaint, many fans blamed her perceived lowball Netflix offer on her lack of box office success and off-putting personality. But then, fellow veteran comedian and actress Wanda Sykes came forward and stated that Netflix had offered her even less for her comedy special, which was half of what they'd offer Monique. The issue of the wage gap for Black actresses goes back a lot further than most people realize, and is deeply rooted in a history of systematic discrimination and racial bias. Black actresses in Hollywood faced segregation, limited roles, and harmful racial tropes throughout the 20th century. Pioneering figures like Dorothy Dandridge and Lena Horne struggled against constrained opportunities despite their undeniable talents and beauty. The 1960s and 70s marked a shift in Hollywood's approach, but prejudices persisted, perpetuating the gender wage gap for Black women. And despite the groundbreaking achievements of figures like Josephine Baker, Cicely Tyson, Eartha Kitt, and Halle Berry, the gender wage gap persisted, highlighting the industry's slow progress in addressing racial and gender inequality. In 2020, a video of actress Viola Davis from an interview with Tina Brown at a Woman of the World event in 2018, where she spoke about the pay gap between men and women and between Black women and white women, went viral.
And we won't talk about gender inequality of pay, because a lot of the women who've stepped forward, and I stand in solidarity with them, okay? What they're getting paid, which is half of what a man is getting paid, well, we get probably a tenth of what a Caucasian woman gets. And I'm number one on the call sheet. And then I have to go in and I have to hustle for my worth. That's what I feel like I'm doing when I demand what I feel. Listen, I have more than a 30-year professional career. I had a friend who said, yeah, but Viola, your career is better than my career. I said, yeah, but you can't compare me to you. Because once again, I got the Oscar, I got the Emmy, I got the 2 Tonys. I've done Broadway, I've done off-Broadway, I've done TV, I've done film, I've done all of it. I have a career that's probably comparable to Meryl Streep, Julianne Moore, Sigourney Weaver. They all came out of Yale. They came out of Juilliard. They came out of NYU. They had the same path as me. And yet, I am nowhere near them. Not as far as money, not as far as job opportunities, nowhere close to it. And yet, I have to constantly get on that phone, and I have fabulous agents, by the way. They are getting it. But I have to get on that phone, and people say, you're a Black Meryl Streep. You are, and we love you. We love you. There is no one like you. Okay, then if there's no one like me, you think I'm that? You pay me what I'm worth. You give me what I'm worth.
The broader issue of representation both on and off the screen intertwines with the struggle for fair pay for Black women in Hollywood. The lack of diversity in executive positions and decision-making roles contribute to wage inequality. Monique's discrimination lawsuit underscored the need for transformative change in Hollywood's unequal terrain. And while Hollywood has made some progress in addressing gender inequality, initiatives often focus on advancing the interests of white actresses, leaving Black women behind. Recent years have seen Black actresses and advocates speaking out against wage inequality, with movements like #OscarsSoWhite, drawing attention to systematic racism in Hollywood. Now, going back even further to 2015, Viola Davis, after becoming the first African American to win an Emmy for Best Actress in a Drama, gave this powerful speech.
In my mind, I see a line. And over that line, I see green fields and lovely flowers and beautiful white women with their arms stretched out to me over that line. But I can't seem to get there no how. I can't seem to get over that line. That was Harriet Tubman in the 1800s. And let me tell you something. The only thing that separates women of color from anyone else is opportunity. You cannot win an Emmy for roles that are simply not there. So here's to all the writers, the awesome people that are Ben Sherwood, Paul Lee, Peter Nowak, Shonda Rhimes, people who have redefined what it means to be beautiful, to be sexy, to be a leading woman, to be Black. And to the Taraji P. Hensons, the Kerry Washingtons, the Halle Berrys, the Nicole Beharies, the Megan Goods, to Gabrielle Union, thank you for taking us over that line.
We know you picked up on the irony of her thanking Taraji P. Henson for being one of the Black actresses for, as she stated, taking us over that line. A statement and line that we all now know, according to Taraji and other Black actresses, has still not yet been crossed some 9 years later. Taraji, who has recently been at the forefront and in the headlines for reigniting and shining a light on the continued struggles of Black actresses, has spent over 20 years in the Hollywood industry and said she still isn't paid enough to adequately cover her bills. During a 2021 appearance on The Real Talk Show, Taraji spoke on how she'd been paid $150,000 for her role in the movie The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and how folks on social media were calling her greedy for complaining about the pay.
Benjamin Button?
That was $150.
Right.
Okay, so let me break it down because I remember some people were like, $150, she greedy, that's a lot of money. Let me break this down for you.
Break it down. Okay.
When you start making that kind of money, Uncle Sam takes 50%. So let's do the math. We're gonna act like this is romper room. You know how they give you those shows where they let you compute it for a second. So that leaves me with 75 now, right?
Yep.
Then I have to pay another 30% to my team who did all the work to get me that job.
Yes.
So I don't pay them 30% of the 75. No. I pay them 30% of the 150 that comes out of my 75. So what does that compute to? Okay, so let's break it down like this. You have 12 months in a year to make your money, right? If you do a film for 5 months, that takes you off the market for anything else to earn any other kind of coin until you're done with that show. At the time, my son's school tuition, because he was in high school at Buckley, was $30,000. I chose my son's education over fancy cars and all those things. And so literally for 5 months, that's what I made, his tuition. Now what? I gotta hit the pavement again, and I gotta scrounge up another check.
That's right.
So that is how that works.
And during a SiriusXM interview with Gayle King in December of last year, that you may have heard portions of in our prior video or elsewhere on the internet, Taraji broke down the numbers in regards to how much of her pay she actually brings home.
When you start working a lot, you know, you have a team. Big bills come with what we do. We don't do this alone. The fact that we're up is a whole entire team behind us. They have to get paid. So when you hear someone saying, oh, such and such made $10 million, no, that's not that didn't make it to their account. Know that off the top, Uncle Sam is getting 50%.
That's right.
Okay? So do the math. Now we have $5 million. Your team is getting 30% or whatever your team is off of what you grossed.
Sometimes
not
more.
after what Uncle Sam took. Now do the math. So
You're tired.
I'm only human, and it seems every time I do something and I break another glass ceiling, when it's time to renegotiate, I'm at the bottom again, like I never did what I just did, and I'm just tired. I'm tired. I'm tired.
Now, because it's been widely argued by many that Taraji's comments were aimed at Oprah Winfrey, who was a producer on the new version of The Color Purple, in which Taraji co-starred in, and during which the promotion of the movie her statements came about, we thought it was only fair to revisit the widely discussed and alleged beef, as the two women recently stated that their so-called feud was nothing more than a simple case of miscommunication and misunderstanding. In an interview with Entertainment Tonight, Oprah said this.
Yes, and I would just like to say about this whole Taraji, I heard I was trending yesterday because people are saying that I was not supporting Taraji. Taraji will tell you herself that I've been the greatest champion of this film, championing not only the behind-the-scenes production, but also everything that everybody needed. So whenever I heard that there was something that people needed, I'm not in charge of the budget because that's Warner Brothers. You know, that's the way the studio system works. And we as producers, everybody gets their salary. That's negotiated by your team. And so whenever I heard there was an issue or there was a problem with the cars or there was a problem with the food, I would step in and do whatever I could to make it right. And I believe that she would even vouch.
And during an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Taraji echoed Oprah's statement.
Thank you from
And
the
it was
bottom of my heart.
beyond being there for us, like acting wise. I'm talking about as a producer. When she said, if there is anything you need, don't hesitate to call. I was nervous at first. I was like, should I call? and my manager was like, she would want to know this. Her name is on this project. She would want to know this. And so when I called, when she said say less, this woman moved mountains. So I thank you for that, because y'all know I've been doing this a while. And I've been on productions where I've been the only black person, the only female, and I needed things, and I didn't have anybody I could call. I just had to bite the bullet, and I had to show up every day with grace, and I had to do my job. It's happened more times than you would ever know. So to be in this position, that's why I tell y'all, this is special. This is special. This doesn't happen often. It's the thing about black women. They don't hear our tears. They don't hear our pain. That goes on in Hollywood. It goes on more often than you know. So when you see a black woman show up on this screen, know that she had to work quadruple hard, or whatever the word is, than her counterparts. Know that she's getting paid just a fraction of what her counterparts are getting paid. And we do it with grace each and every time we show up and give it our all. Please take that into consideration. So thank you for everything you fought for us and stood up for us. Thank you so much.
Also recently, we've seen reports from gossip sites and YouTube channels stating that Taraji is planning to sue Oprah for blacklisting her. We, however, as of the posting of this video, were unable to find any confirmation on these rumors from reputable sources. Here's the thing though, folks. What we do know that is 100% factual is that black actresses and women as a whole have long been treated as non- and second-class citizens in this country. And regardless of how you feel about Taraji's complaints and demands or Oprah's alleged misdeeds, the personal struggles of black actresses with not being treated and compensated fairly simply because of their race have always been and still are a reality, while also being a reflection of the everyday struggles for the majority of 99.9% of all of the black women in this country. And while efforts such as the Time's Up movement addresses workplace inequality, there is still much work to be done to ensure that the voices and experiences of black women are central to these conversations.